Buttermilk Biscuits. There's nothing quite like a homemade buttermilk biscuit, and today I'm bringing a taste of home by making homemade buttermilk biscuits here in my home kitchen. They're so light, fluffy, and tender, and just cooked to perfection, and they are a favorite of mine. They remind me of Saturday mornings, waking up and smelling my mom baking them in the oven. How delicious they were. So today, I am bringing back this special memory by making my own batch of buttermilk biscuits here in my home kitchen. And I can't wait to share it with you today. So, let's make some buttermilk biscuits. Okay, so to make our buttermilk biscuits, first and foremost, I'm going to start by combining our flour, using all-purpose flour here. And then to that, I'm going to add my baking soda and baking powder. And then I have a little bit of salt and some sugar, just to balance out the flavors. So I'm just going to give that a quick stir, just combine everything together. And then it's time to add my butter. So I have about 1/3 of a cup of really cold butter. So what I've done is I popped it in the freezer for just a flash to get it super cold. But if it's straight from your fridge and your fridge is really cold, then it should be good to go. And this is what's going to make the biscuits nice and flaky. You could also use a combination of lard, like vegetable lard. That would also work as well, but I am going with just butter. So now I have a couple of forks, and I'm literally just going to mash the butter into the flour. You could also use a pastry cutter to do this, or 2 knives, 2 butter knives. That would also work just as well. And because basically what I want to do is get the consistency of my dough to form small little pea-sized pieces of dough when the butter and the flour have come together. So I'm going to keep going with this until my butter and my flour have been well incorporated, and then it'll be time to add our buttermilk, knead our biscuit dough, and roll out and cut our delicious biscuits. So good. Okay, so now I have my flour and my butter so well incorporated here, and it's nice and crumbly and the exact texture that I want it to be. So now it's time to add my buttermilk. So I am just going to start with about half of my buttermilk here and just give it a stir, and then we're going to see what we need. So this is the best way to get started with the dough. Don't add too much too soon. I love this dough because it's so simple to make, to whip up homemade biscuits from scratch. So delicious. So good. And I remember the first time, actually, my husband, before we were married, the first time he came to visit my parents, my mom and I, we made a batch of buttermilk biscuits because, yeah, you just can't visit the Southeast without a biscuit for us. So, okay, that dough looks so good. I'm going to add just a touch more of my buttermilk. Give it another stir. Beautiful. So you see how it's really come together so nicely here. What a nice dough. Okay, so now it's time for my kneading. So it's going to be a gentle kneading. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I do want my dough to come together a little bit more. So I'm just going to take it, dust it with a little bit of flour, dust my hands with some flour, and just gently knead the dough just until it is well incorporated together. And then it'll be time to roll it out and cut my biscuits. Now to cut the biscuits, normally you could use a biscuit cutter, but quite honestly, we always use, and whenever I made biscuits of my own, as a young adult, I never, bought the expense of buying a biscuit cutter. I just used a glass, so because this is what I'm always used to using, this is what I use. And as I'm working with the dough, it's nice and cold. I really made sure to chill my butter and chill my buttermilk till it's nice and cold. And this is actually really going to affect the end result of our dough. It's going to create a nice, flaky, rich biscuit. So good. So my dough is nice and pliable. Don't want to knead it too much. I'm just going to dust my surface again with a little bit of flour and move the excess flour to the side. Pat it again with some flour. And now I have my rolling pin, so I will just dust it just a tad bit of flour, and then let's get started to roll it. Beautiful. I love making biscuits. It's such a nostalgic memory for me. And I want to make my biscuits kind of thick because I really want them to have some height to them. So I'm not going to roll my dough out too thin because I really want them to be a little thick. So taking my cutter, I'm going to dip it just a little bit in flour, just so it doesn't stick, and just cut my biscuit dough, just like that. So again, just cutting it, do a little swirl, kind of like when I made Berliners. Yeah, I think I talked about how making Berliners reminded me so much of making my homemade buttermilk biscuits. Pretty similar process. Okay, and then there we have our biscuits. So I'm going to keep going until I have all my biscuits prepared. I'm going to take my excess dough and roll it out again. And then I'm going to place them on my baking sheet, pop them in my hot oven, and soon, very soon, we will have our delicious buttermilk biscuits. So good. Okay, so I have just finished rolling out my biscuits and cutting them into nice shapes. And they look so good. I'm so excited to eat these. And so what I'm doing now is I place a little bit of parchment on my baking sheet, grease it with just a tad bit of butter, just to add extra flavor and just to double ensure that they don't stick. And now I'm just placing them side by side together in my pan, on my pan. Looks so good. Then we have 6 delicious buttermilk biscuits. Now my oven has been preheating on about 200 degrees Celsius, almost 400 degrees Fahrenheit. They are going to bake until they're nice and golden, and then I'm going to dust them with some more butter, and then time to enjoy our delicious buttermilk biscuits. Perfect for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Alright, in they go. And soon we'll have our buttermilk biscuits. So good. Okay, so my biscuits have been baking, and it's time to take them out of the oven. Oh, check that out. Perfectly golden brown. But still gentle to the touch. So important. So now what I'm going to do is take some butter and place right on top. And I love to do this because, well, it adds extra flavor, but then it also gives the biscuits a really nice sheen. So before I serve them to my friends and family, it's really nice to give the biscuits a nice little glisten to them. And they smell so good. The smell of fresh baked bread, and even better, a home-style buttermilk biscuit, absolutely divine. So I'm going to take a little bit more butter and spread on the outside of them. And I don't have to go crazy with the butter because, quite frankly, if you're anything like me, you're going to put a little bit of butter on the inside too of your biscuit, but just to add the extra sheen to the biscuits. Oh my goodness, let me tell you, these look and smell delicious. Okay, so now I'm just going to let the rest of that butter just melt, and I'm going to take my biscuits and one by one just remove them. Oh, so nice. Place them right here on my cutting board. Oh, beautiful. So soft around the edges, but nice and crispy on top. Beautiful. And then there we have our delicious homemade buttermilk biscuits. So good, so delicious, and so simple to make. So thank you so much for checking out this video for how to make homemade buttermilk biscuits. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you give it a try for yourself. And until the next video, thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time. See ya!